want to get back there, you should see the structures class.
The next 4 or 5 rows, I'm going to get a letter grade removed.
Oh.
All right, folks, let's see if I can keep you awake for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes tops. And what I want to do today is talk about a skill set that I would love you all to, I'd love to see you all excel in by the end of the semester. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to talk about abstraction today, design process, and space. And this, of course, is Mark Minette, your Steve faculty member, award-winning architect of Silo, president of Charlotte AIA. And what he's doing here, he's showing to me with a pen in his hand and really mine only, on a 2x4, how the entire home that he designed for himself and built comes together. And I might point out there's also line weight. That's what it all turned into. On the 2x4. That's the interior, that's the exterior. And that's him drawing with a pen and a hand and really mind only, creating the entire space. Say no to Rhino. Say no to Rhino. All right, what is this? Any guess?
A pencil.
It's a pen. Above the pencil. Above the pen, what do you see? Anybody? What? Nothing? Rectangle? Oh my God, people. All right, let's say it's a wall, all right? Is it a plan of a wall, an elevation, a section? Well, my suggestion is that it's actually a space. And so what we do, we put on paper 4 lines to show a wall that has dimensions to it, that has proportions, that has a materiality that we assign to it, that has a height. It creates a space, and all we're putting down is 4 lines on paper. That's what we do to create that. Let me try this in American. So this is Ludwig van Beethoven.
Let me try it in American. Go in German.
And when he was 20, he was starting to turn deaf. When he was my age, he was completely without hearing. And he sat down and composed Symphony No. 9, Ode to Joy. And what did he do? He put pen to paper, lines on paper. That's all he did. He saw the entire orchestra play. He couldn't hear a thing, but he could imagine this entire thing, write it down, change it, listen to it in his inner ear, make adjustments until it was just perfect. So what he saw, or what he heard rather, was this. And you might know this part. So he was deaf when he created that, didn't hear a thing. Put pen to paper and created all of that. You might recognize this, the movie. Get how that started. Lines on paper, words, entire movie with all this visual, exuberance and the storylines and everything was just created, pen on paper, words on paper, worked on again and again and again until it was just right. They didn't show up with crews and actors on the side and decided, oh, let's start doing something. No, they knew what they were doing. They could picture it. They didn't have to film it. Their story wasn't here. I shared that image with you before. It's a house we're about to start building on Baden Lake. Of course, it's a 3D model and 3D rendering. So how long do you think would it take you to build this in a computer and render it? Anybody? What you got? Huh? Nobody? Nobody's the answer? All right. So let's say it takes you 40 hours. Maybe step over here. All right. If I'd hire you, by the time you're done with this nonsense, I might pay you $65,000 a year. You're going to be working about 1,750 hours in that year at a 70% efficiency rate. The rest of the 30, what's the 30%? That's you goofing off on TikTok, sharing apple pie recipes, I don't know. So really you're working 1,225 hours. That's about costing me $53 an hour. Plus 30%, we'll have to pay for the chair you're sitting on, the computer, real estate, parking meter, you have it. So it really cost me 69 hours for you working away. 40 hours for doing that rendering, that cost me $2,760. I will have to pay you $2,760 just to get this rendering. What did I do? I subcontracted it out. It was manufactured somewhere in the world, I don't even know, I paid $600. So what does that mean? You're useless. So say no to Rhino. Say no to Rhino. So you all were busy with the fire tower exercise. I couldn't help myself when I designed my own. It was just, you know, too juicy, right? So this is what I came up with. Oh yeah? What do you think, eh? All right. Well, naturally, of course, this is an AI rendering. Journey. And I wrote on there, so I wrote, exterior view of the fire, look out, I misspelled look. Look out tower for walk line along the North Carolina mountaintop on a sunny day based on the architecture of long background. And that's what it spit out. How long do you think it took me to do that? So yeah, what does that mean? What is your actual value? So this is me at my office, trying to show you how I might look like if you'd be working there. So what is your value? Well, I might hire you because of your problem-solving skills, or your critical analysis, curiosity, leadership, subject expertise, technical know-how, design development, applying guidance to the inspiration, creativity, your design prowess, your design acumen. And so what I want to see from you is a reiterative, analytical, flexible design process. I can't subcontract that out. AI can't take that over. Let me repeat that if I can. Reiterative, analytical, flexible design process. That's where your value lies. This is me designing the house I shared with you also before, like Wiley. This is a 3D rendering we produce, and then the actual build version. Can you spot any difference from the first to the second or the third? I hope you say no. The design didn't change. So we did not design when the home was done or when it was built. It wasn't like me standing there and moving framing crews, build a couple 2x4s, take it down, put them over there. And I sure didn't do it in the 3D rendering phase. This is when I did it. Pen, hand to paper, map point out, trace paper right over there. Over and over again. And they were iterative, analytical, flexible design process. I looked at the floor plan. This is, of course, more of a diagram, a partie of the floor plan, but it's to scale. And a myriad of issues was addressed in order to come up with this. The whole purpose was for me to create a space. one that has the possibility to really enrich the life of the inhabitants, right? That's what we're doing this for. Something so intoxicating that you just, you know, fall in love being in there. That's our purpose for what we're doing. This is what I'm drawing. But this is what I'm seeing in my eye, in the inner eye, right? This is what I'm drawing here, looking at that way. But this is what I want to see. And what my clients say, they say, I don't love it all. The closet is too small. So if I had actually rendered this, my answer might have been, come on, I can't change it. What are you talking about? I'm not going to make all these changes. I put hours into this. I can't just, no, I'm not going to do that. My reaction, of course, was, well, why not? A couple lines on paper, then you add the next problem to it and figure it out. Roll up trace paper and we got it fixed. So, say no to Rhino. Say no to Rhino. This is the 3D rendering of the home that we built, or we almost finished, also in Lake Wylie. Started like this. Bunch of questions. Paper, sheet by sheet, problem by problem, question by question, wondering again, testing it again, adding another problem, going over it, time and time again. And what, you guessed it, a iterative, analytical, flexible design process, all to simply come up with a partie. But you betcha that this was chock full of questions and problems answered and addressed. It was going to reveal the most beautiful spaces at the end of the day because it was all considered, all figured out. Pen to paper, to scale. Creativity lies between wonder and rigor. So what were we looking at? Circulation, privacy, solar gain, views, topography, program, second story, roof terrace, don't do those. Water is a big issue. Energy efficiency, construction costs, construction methods, volumetric expression, material palette, natural light, data, structure, and the quality of space. All in this. Turning the next step, which is the same house, there's one plan, a second plan, an elevation, and a site plan. With those four, I can connect all the dots, check all the I's and dot all the I's and cross all the T's and make sure everything is there. I understand how it goes together. I understand what the qualities are, every space over there, every elevation, I can see in front of my eyes. Those are the only notes I have to put on paper to heat the symphony. This then turned into a couple of construction set. Here's one sheet with elevations, there's another sheet with one of the floor plans, wall sections. And again, even in that process, we were iterative, analytical, and flexible. Keep trying to adjust, fixing, understanding, going over it again. There's a scale, people. You can use it. And it turned out like that. Or I should say, at that point, we made a 3D rendering and a model of it. But guess what happens next? So we're busy using abstraction to take all of these problems and bring them down to a handful of them that we can actually handle. Through that process of abstraction, we then come up with the spaces that are just, mind-boggling and beautiful. And we put them on paper and then another set of abstraction, lines or drawings to explain how it all comes together. What do the builders do? They then take those lines off the page, pick them up, see the house, and start building it. The reverse of what we are doing. There's some sexy rebar formwork for concrete walls, framing, all that. Meeting with the clients and the electricians, look what the builder's holding, drawings at a pen. And then this was a couple of weeks ago, still working there. So say no to Rhino, say no to Rhino. There's another example. What do we got here? Plan, site plan, diagram, hand sketched elevation, all we need. Another one, plan, couple of interior elevations, elevation, site, and a diagram. We know how to do this, we understand it, we know how it's going to look and feel at the end of the day. So, what about this project then? How do we get started on that? Well, I always tell my clients that just by looking at the program and a few simple side considerations, not to take anything away from Scott's presentation, but so between all of these things, we tell our clients that the house designs itself perfectly. And so what you got here is a living space, kitchen, dining, everything is in there. There's a primary bedroom, guest suite, and a garage. The street is way up here on the top of the hill, and down the hill there's a lakefront right there. So we looked at the sun direction, which the best light, of course, comes from the south. It's the happiest light, and we can mitigate the solar gain issues. And so we wanted to open up the house with big windows, floor to ceiling, big expanses of glass right to the south. And then we wondered about the view. Well, the view is this way. From the west is the worst sun, it bakes the house. But this is where we want to look. Well, we said we keep the big nice windows. We look over the tip of the neighboring lot and still have a wonderful view. Add a few there with some louvers that are oriented in such a way to allow view but not western sun. We looked at topography, so as you might see here, like this. So we tucked it into the hill on one side and sit on virgin rock down in the middle, and then stick out on the other end and play with that. And then also we were messing around with the topography to create a flat area in front of the garage at this point where we were already flattening out anyways. And then we looked at privacy, so to this neighbor we were blocking us off with the guest wing. To this side we had the house stuck into the hill, giving a cold shoulder to that neighbor. To the street we have the garage. And so this entire area here is completely private to all sides except to the river. And then we looked at the approach. I'll skip that. The progression. But then all that was all we needed to understand the house. We looked at a couple of elevations, a section to understand the main space, the floor plan, the site plan, and how this all relates to what we just talked about. And that was it. That was that. Everything else from now is production. Creating some renderings, construction drawings, building it. The house exists now. We have invented it. It's there. With all its glory and beauty. Here's another one. Reiterative and illustrative design process. Boom. What we did here is a climbing library between a couple, 3 children's bedrooms. A space that can hang out, climb up, rest, read a book, tuck books here underneath, toys into the walls as well. We wondered how all of this worked. We wondered how far we would stick it out for cantilevers, that we can get away with engineered lumber and not steel. We put a scale to it, people. Make sure all the dimensions are working on. Can you stand up in there? What happens when you walk down? Can you sit, how does this all work and look and feel? And this is the end product. And so we're doing that because we want to make sure that these spaces stir our souls. Otherwise, forget it. This is the bottom end of it. The little reading nook that sticks out on one side of the building, and then the other side is the top platform right up there. And so this is what I hope I will see from you guys, hand in your hand, explaining to me how your project is working, how you envision it, what the end result is, quickly, so that you can look at it and change it up over and over and over again. And so, if you have something to write down, I'm going to do 20 minutes. So, here's what I want to see from you, what I want to see from me. I want us to strive to excel in the abstraction of a problem set by way of an analytical, flexible, responsive design process. In the hunt for meaningful spaces defined by materials, light, volumes, and structure. That's it.